Girls, what are we doing today?
So Morgan, where are we today? We're at the San Diego Air and Space Museum. What are you doing, Kevin? That's not Kevin. So where's Kevin?
I'm over here.
Anyway, let's go have fun.
Welcome to the San Diego Air and Space Museum.
We don't look the
I'm
same.
Charles Lindgren, the first pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean.
Good morning. My name is Fred Miller. I'm a docent at the San Diego Air and Space Museum. Welcome to the museum. We're going to be talking this morning about the very beginnings and the inception of flight and how airplanes fly. We're going to talk a little bit about Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was the first person to put some science into the idea of flight. And the Wright brothers then started their effort to achieve powered flight. They wanted to achieve not just gliding, but they wanted to achieve actual controlled powered flight, where a man could control the airplane and make it useful. And so we have the Wright brothers Model B glider, and this glider was developed to begin to control the movement and the direction of the glider. And that was done by twisting the wing. And so they had some wires and cables, and they could twist the wing. And so what's next? They have to put in a motor. And so in 1903, they put a motor onto an airplane that looked very much like this one. And they had their first successful powered flight. And that opened up a whole new science and commercial business.
So how would you get the plane started?
Okay, now the first one, the early ones without the wheels, they had a rail. So they had a long wooden platform, like a wood about 60 feet long, and then they had a metal rail on that, and then they had small wheels on the bottom of the glider to be on the rail, and then they had a catapult. They had a big weight. They dropped the weight would pull the rope would send the glider off, and it would fly. And they did that for several years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Would you want to try that?
No. No, thank you.
So after the Wright brothers made their first flights, aviation just took off. Everyone was building airplanes, especially in Europe.
So all the planes that you've been showing us are gliders,
Yes.
and then they start adding motors, but they don't really look like today's planes.
No.
So when did that transition happen?
That transition happened between World War I and World War II.
Can we meet some of these important people?
And we will see them. And of course, the airplane became a wonderful vehicle for exploration, for exploring the world, for going to places that no one had ever been before. And so we have aviators taking aircraft to the North Pole and to the South Pole. And we have them going to Africa and Asia and all over the world and around the world.
Would these people know they're using these planes for exploration. Would they know what would happen to the planes when they get there? Because I'm imagining if you went to the North Pole with a plane, you may not know what the cold,
That was-
how the cold would affect the engine.
That's the adventure. That's the risk. Because no, they did not know. They had an idea. They had an idea because there had been ships that had gone
Yes.
before. But actually to put the airplane in that environment was a big risk.
Could be a one-way trip.
Yes, it could be. It could be.
Oh, very
Okay, and so now we're going to come down to the end of the Hall of Fame area, and we're going to come into the World War I section. As we come into World War I, now we are seeing airplanes that look more like modern airplanes.
Yeah.
They have a body, an enclosed body, fuselage.
Fuselage, yeah.
Yeah, they have, the wings are more formed, they have more volume to them. The airplanes are much more durable. And so this is the first World War I airplane to actually have a machine gun that could fire through the propeller without hitting the propeller. How do you do that?
Yeah, how do you do that?
And as you can see, the machine gun is on the top and it's pointing through the propeller. And if the propeller is turning and the machine gun is firing, then you might expect that it could hit the propeller.
Yeah.
And that was true at first. When this propeller is turning, you do not want the bullet to hit the propeller. And so, if you see that red dot, that red dot only happens when there's no propeller in front of the gun. And what's going on is a gear system is pushing the trigger, and it only pushes the trigger when there's no propeller. So it's impossible to shoot the propeller. Now we'll go down to the golden age of aviation, which is the late 1920s and 1930s. And also they put on big shows. So they would have a car running down the track and the airplane would fly over with a ladder hanging down, and the gentleman would get off of the car and climb the ladder and get onto the airplane. And they started to do gymnastics on the airplane. They would play tennis on the top of the airplane. And it's called the Golden Age because there was no fighting, there was no war, so everybody's relaxed, everybody's having fun with the airplanes, more adventure. Amelia Earhart is making flights across the Atlantic Ocean, across the Pacific from San Francisco to Hawaii. And she was a pioneer. She was one of the very first women aviators. This is Amelia Earhart's airplane.
Oh, wow.
Well, this is the model.
Yes.
This is a model. This is a model of the airplane that she flew across the Atlantic, and she flew across the Pacific from San Francisco to Hawaii.
After Amelia Earhart's journey, did this inspire more women to want to fly?
Oh, yes. She was an inspiration all through her career and even afterwards. She helped found an organization called the 99s, which is an organization of women flyers. Started in the 1930s, and they did races and they promoted aviation. Oh, she was a very important inspiration for women to come into aviation.
Yeah.
we've learned so much about the history of flight. Next time, we will find out the secret of flying. How can an airplane fly without falling to the ground? Let's find out together in our last episode. See you!